All right, let's just dive into it, huh? Let's play some Naya Feather today. Having a little bonus stream. Alcohol asked if they could buy the stream for a day, and they did. They requested a couple of Naya decks, so I've got Naya Feather and Naya Winota to start us off here in Historic, and then to wrap things up, we're gonna kick the tires on Jeskai Winota in Standard because gambling is fun. If you haven't seen this deck before, it's headlined by Feather Redeemed here. It says whenever you cast instant sorcery spell, it targets a creature you control. Exile it instead of putting it into your graveyard as it resolves. If you do, return it to your hand at the beginning of the next end step. So this card's incredibly powerful with effects like Reckless Rage, Domri's Ambush, Defiant Strike. Out of the most recent set, we added Fight as one, which is a card I've been really impressed with in Standard. I think it's probably going to be great here. So this gives one or both, either a human and a non-human, +1/+1 and indestructible until end of turn. So we've got 10th District Legionnaire as 4 humans in the deck. So sometimes this card can save 2 of our things, which is really sweet. Let's go ahead and jump on into some matches here with this one in a historic event and see how it goes. Hey, Terran Terror, thank you for the very generous tier 3 and for the 2.5 years at that. Almost as old as Jeff. I am, how old am I? What year is 2020? I'm 29. Thank you very much. Hey, 3 Smith, thanks for 11 months. I appreciate the tier 2 at that. Let me know if there's something that you'd like to bump up and see a little bit sooner. Yikes. Welcome to the live one, Boston. This hand is very reasonable. What do I want to bottom? So I'm bottoming one. I think I want to keep the Season of Growth as a way to recover some of the card advantage or card disadvantage lost from this mulligan. So I think we bottom a threat and a spell here. Could see merit for either. I think I'm going to keep the Paradise Druid because Paradise Druid has a lot of potential upside. Paradise Druid has the upside of being castable even if we break out our 3rd land, and it can potentially accelerate us into a feather, which would be great. So we don't have a companion. Well, they didn't register a companion either, so we might be okay. Might be okay. Blue, red lands, eh? Okay, so maybe maybe something similar to what we're doing over on that side of the table too. Ooh, wait, how does this read? Whenever you cast a spell that targets a creature you control, draw a card. Okay, so if this targets 2 things, this does not draw 2 cards, right? I think I'm still keeping that, but it's worth noting that the way this works is we only draw 1. What's going on, Ghost Alien? I think I'm going to go ahead and eat their Burning Prophet here. Little bit punished for my decision there. Can you explain why you can fight with one over God's Willing? I expect God's Willing is better when you only have 1 creature because it provides a scry in the dark. I expect Protection to be more useful than Indestructible. Now, I think Indestructible is more useful, and the +1/+1 is useful for combat tricks like you just saw there. That's is a big part of it. If there was a useful card guaranteed on top of my deck for Feather, I think I'd wait to play it out there, but I think without the guaranteed card for Feather, I'm supposed to play this and try and scry into one. And then if they don't have a way to take Feather off the table here, the Defiant Strike on top of our deck is going to go a long way. Even if they do take Feather off the table here, Defiant Strike's going to scry 1, draw 2 with the 10th District Legionnaire, and there's a good chance we snowball starting next turn. We're at 16. Azizdel's a little bit scary if they have like a flurry of spells here, but so long as they don't kill 10th District and Feather, we're in a pretty reasonable spot. You're fine, Alkalol. I appreciate the support. If I wasn't okay with it, I would have told you no. Hey, Rollins, 6 for 60 bucks. Welcome back. Hopefully they just, like, cast a couple of cantrips and, like, smack us for, like, 5 or 6 here. And then we get to untap and take over with this Defiant Strike. Die Harlequin, thank you for the 23 runs. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Feather. If we get even one turn with Feather in this Defiant Strike, we are going to make up all the cards that we mulliganed. So, they could have a Shock or a Wizard's Lightning, so I think I'm supposed to be conservative with this and not target 10th District in the event that they have a way to target this. Because the way Feather works is you don't get... Alright, so this game's over. So the way Feather works is you don't get the... You don't get the trigger unless your spell resolves, so it's important that your spell resolves. If they have Spell Pierce here, we could still pay for it with Paradise Druid. This is going to not only draw a card and come back to our hand later, but it's going to go ahead and kill the Azizdel here. So they Spell Pierce, which stops us from playing any more spells out this turn, but I get to pay for this, and then we kill their threat, and we draw a card. Oh wait, I haven't played a land yet, right? Sick. You'll love to see it. Really kind of highlighting the strength of Arctivore. I'm actually going to bottom this because we have 2 that are going to come back from Feather, and I would just like a Reckless Rage to like firmly end the game. Against Unsummon, I think Unsummon's probably a little narrow. I think I'm actually going to go ahead and offer this trade here, because if we clear their board, even if they kill our Feather, like, we're getting back Strike, Domri's Ambush. With Druids, we should be good. Yeah, what's going on, Haskow? Yeah, Alka, as is implied by the stream title, Alcohol asked if they could buy the stream for a day. I told them yes. So, here we are. Extra Magic the Gathering is lovely, chat. Alright, kill your things. He's looking for a Reckless Rage here, basically. Sure. Why not? This deck is so silly when it gets going. It's like, and what if I draw all the cards? This is the same game where we mulligan to 5 to start, by the way. For those not paying attention, that was the same game where we started on 5 cards. Extra Reckless Rage sounds great here. Fight as 1 and Light of Hope both potentially okay. What do I want to trim? You can still win games you start with fewer cards, right? It's a novel concept. It's been a second, chat. Maybe I don't want these Light of Hopes. Gaining 4 life probably isn't good enough. Leaves me 2 cuts here. I think I'd rather have Fight as 1 than God's Willing, and I'm probably sure with Paradise Druid. I think you can go as low as like 18 threats post-board. In fact, maybe I'd rather just get rid of keep the God's Willing and get rid of the 2 Spellbreakers. They're a little bit slow. Let's get that a try. Yeah, this hand's fine, right? It's got all our colors. It's got 2 threats, it's got a thing. You're like, ideally you'd like 1 more spell, but like if you mull and you see 6 with like 3 lands of these 3 spells, you're like super happy with it, right? The Red Bull event has broken 2,200 people. It's wild, chat. It's wild. Alright, so we want to lead on Dreadhorde Arcanist here, because the sequencing we get to do next turn if they tap out is we get to go 10th District, Defiant Strike the 10th District, Dreadhorde Flashback, Defiant Strike the 10th District, and smack them for 6-7. So Thalia is disruptive to our own game plan. The idea behind Thalia is that you only bring her in matches where she's worse for the opponent than she is for you. So she's not... There's a reason why she's a sideboard card. She's largely there as a threat to tempo control decks. Reckless Rage. Some things die while others feel the pain. Reckless Rage. She's good against the Mox Amber Breach decks too. So she's good against the non-Kesis Mox Amber decks. So Kesis actually plays Thalia sometimes because it just Kesis negates Thalia's cost or effect rate. The +1 and the -1 negate each other. So, like, part of the problem with companions in the older formats is that the companions that they printed have a smaller range. There's fewer playable companions in the older formats is the issue. So, like, there's more Luris because older formats are inclined to play lots of cheap spells anyways, so Luris has some of the lowest cost among companions to be played. So that's why Luris has a bigger impact there than it does in Standard, because Standard is a format that's more, you're more likely to want to play expensive things in it. Are you suggesting that Kruga isn't good in Legacy? I am, in fact, suggesting that Kruga isn't good in Legacy. So this is a little aggressive, but I don't think I need to play around Spell Pierce here, so I'm gonna go ahead and God's Willing and let them know that I have it to pump this up. It's a pretty good one to have on top. So they'll know I have this God's Willing, but like, you know, I'm a Feather player, so they should know I always have it anyways. But this gets me a couple of scries and pumps up the Legionnaire here. Bump up, the wump up, the jam. You can guarantee someone is trying Kruga and Nick Fit. Well, they can't play Veteran Explorer if Kruga's their companion, right? So probably not. Main deck Kruga, sure. Maybe? That doesn't seem very good there. Like, if you already have big things in play in Legacy, you're probably winning the game regardless, right? Alright, looking for a Reckless Rage here. We'll take a Defiant Strike, though. Yes, we will. Yes, we will. Do I want another Season of Growth? I actually don't think I do. I think we're going to see enough cards without that. Hey, T-Kush, thanks for 17 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. I think I'm in for a land tier. I haven't played a land yet for the turn. And, like, with all the cards we're about to draw, I could kind of use as many manas as possible. So the historic ladder is not currently available. You can also always tell if the stream you're watching is playing a ladder match because there will be ladder ranks at the top and bottom of the screen by the players' names. When Historic Anthology 3 gets printed here soon, gets printed on May 21st, the historic ladder will turn on and it won't go away anymore, which is nice. You have any interest in trying Luca into Emrakul in Modern? Yeah, I think that'd be fine. As a heads up, though, I did have a number of Modern submissions recently, or Magic Online submissions recently, so there'll probably be probably looking at like a 2-week wait to get a Modern deck played. They plan to do about 3 to 4 a week. Unless you jump them in points. They're not, it depends on what you're donating to, I suppose, as always. Alright, so good chance that they're dead here, right? They're deterministically dead, actually, with the fight as won. You meant, was it competitive when the ladder was on? I like this archetype a lot. This is one of the many historic decks that you could find up on my website. The goal of the historic decks on my website are to highlight decks that I think are reasonable and fairly competitive while also being interesting. When will the People's Cannon be played in Legacy? The Modern and Legacy decks are played in points order, so I just grab whichever Magic Online deck is highest. I believe we're doing Magic Online to start tomorrow's stream or Thursday. I'm not sure offhand. Check the schedule on my website. So Spellbreaker is, again, kind of mediocre here. I think I'm just boarding in Reckless Rage and the fight is won again. Gruul Spellbreaker leaves a little bit to be desired in these matchups where my opponent's going to be likely to be blocking my stuff. Yeah, we should get. My understanding of the HA3 spoilers is that they're going to post all 25 of them that we don't know on Friday. We're going to get all of them. And then again, for people that haven't been keeping up with the news, we'll get a full list of cards that are going to be added on Friday. And then on the 21st, they'll be added to Arena. And then on the 23rd, we are having our third Hooglandia Open, which will be historic that those cards will be legal for. This hand's fine. It's a scotch awkward that we can't Reckless Rage with Paradise Druid, but we can, like, technically, like, fight as one the Paradise Druid and then Reckless Rage something in a pinch. Has Thalia felt worth it so far in this archetype? Yeah, I think she's reasonable. I think the matches where you bring in Thalia, she hurts your opponent significantly more than she hurts you, if that makes sense. So she's obviously a card that's not free for our deck because she is symmetrical. But I think her upside in the places where you want to are worth the downside that she brings. I would in fact tell you if Wizards of the Coast had given me a spoiler card. They actually posted a a link on their Twitter/DailyMTG that showed everywhere that you can find spoilers at, and you'll note that I'm not on there. Not that I would expect to be on there, but just to let you know that there's nothing secret brewing. Hey, Fembolt, thanks for the 2/3 I appreciate that. Welcome back. Season of Growth has just been so good so far today. This card is basically like Feathers 5 and 6. It lets you generate some extra card advantage with your spells in a nice way. Reckless Rage is super strong. Agree. Reckless Rage is the card that keeps this archetype humming. It's the reason why this archetype was competitive in Standard. It's competitive now in Historic. It is definitely the reason why, with this rotating, was definitely the reason why Feather stopped being a deck in Standard. Leave up the white mana. Thanks, Recon. Enjoy the YouTubes. Thanks for keeping me around. We're Aether Gusting me. Alright, I guess I should have waited to see if something like that was going to happen before I shocked in my land. Since you're free to play but targeted at whales, are you technically a mobile game? I mean, you could argue that my system's not technically free to play, right? You can be a low spender to engage with the deck queue, but some spending is technically required. I guess you could argue that with Legionnaire status, you could technically free to play Hoaglandia. That's probably a fair assessment. With Legionnaire, you could technically free to play Hoaglandia. Okay, and then that's actually perfect. So I get to draw this here with the Season of Growth. And then I get to shock this. Oh wait, are they dead? This does 3. So this is 7. I could do 10. Okay, so we'll target these. I would love a God's Willing. And then I'm pretty sure we're just killing Nissa here. And we'll kill them next turn. Oh, my phone. Apologies. Normally my cell phone lives on silent, but we actually had our sump pump start to go out last night, so I had to have a plumber out to the house this morning. So I had to have the noise on so I could hear them. You know, they were coming. A Redfire. Thanks for the biddies. I appreciate it. I think this is lethal. Yeah, you could donate. You could donate directly using this link here. Are they dead now? This is gonna be 8, 9, 10, 13. Yeah, so it doesn't matter. Ambush is a big part of the reason to splash green in this archetype. It's super powerful. Does a good Reckless Rage 5 through 7 impersonation. Decks like this one that I'm playing right now, where you have like these super efficient aggro plan and also good interaction, are one of the things that make me enjoy this format a little bit more than Standard right now. Having good, clean, aggressive decks, yeah, is one of my favorite things. And the aggressive decks in Standard, I'll feel like they're a little bit lacking. Yeah, Sand's great, right? It needs a second white source, kinda, but like Paradise Druid's a second white source. Ketchup Fights, thanks for the 3rd of the year. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Are you and Christy bummed that Elon stole... What did Elon... Do I even want to know? What did Elon name his child? He's a strange dude, chat. He is a quirky one. Are there even aggressive decks in Standard right now? Yeah, the Jeskai Cycling deck's kind of an aggressive deck. And there's like the mono black and the mono red Obosh decks that are on the fringes. They named him XAEA-12. I believe you. Which is probably not good, but I believe you. Yeah, I agree, Toxic. We're gonna try the Jeskai, oh, so we're trying Jeskai Winota today, not Jeskai Luris. I forgot. XAEA-12. So, what do I want to do here? I think we just hope they don't have a 1-mana piece of disruption. Hey, Kolpak, thanks for the tip. I appreciate it. We've been doving down, chat. There's a good chance this game is over. Fire the People's Cannon! Sounds good. I assume that's for Lurkasy. How'd everything go today? I have a brand new sump pump, so that's nice. And like, the small amounts of upside is like, I have a new sump pump, and my basement didn't have to get destroyed in order to find out the old one was going bad. So, like, you know, glasses are half full. Glasses are half full. Being an adult is wildly overrated. Home ownership. Yep. So, even if they counter our spell, we still get to draw a card here, which is nice. Can maybe help us play through here. I'm gonna go ahead and pass. I think Paradise Druid is giving up her life to try and end this Storm Tamer. If I tried Legends of Runeterra, I've not. Riot's done some untasteful things as a company. So, like, as long as Magic's reasonable, I don't plan to expand into anything that involves giving them money. Like, maybe at some point, like, if Magic stopped being a full-time job, I'd sell out to try and continue to stream on Twitch if another game looked like it could be, but Magic doesn't seem like it's in any danger of having that happen, so I'm just gonna chill here. What are spells? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me. No more. Whoa, whoa. What did Riot do? I'd encourage you to Google Riot plus workplace harassment and things of that nature. But without getting into all the details on stream, I'd encourage you to Google it. The lawsuits that have come up against their company. Fight as one doesn't seem particularly useful here. They're not really killing our stuff. I want all my removal spells. I think I want Flame Sweep here as well. There's spyware in their latest game as well. Well, that's yeah. Yeah, they're Tencent, the company that owns Riot, is also, like, very closely connected with the Chinese government as well, from my understanding. Past just other legal things that they've run into. Alright, so part of me wants to cut this because it's not good on their own, but another part of me wants to keep it because, like, drawing cards with my stuff is good for playing through their counter spells. Which launcher was that was like looking at files on your computer? Was that the Epic Game Store that was doing that at one point? I remember one of the major game launchers was like poking at files it shouldn't have been poking at one point. I don't remember which one it was offhand. That was Origin. All of them? Probably all of them. No, but like there was one that had nothing to do with anti-cheat serum. It was like looking at log files from one of the competitors' launchers was my understanding. Epic Games was looking at Steam files. Yeah, that's it. I thought it was Epic, but I couldn't remember. Yeah, there was one of them that was like looking at Steam files. Yeah. All right, so we let this resolve, and then we'll stomp this after it resolves. We want to let it resolve first though, so that way, because if you stomp it in response, the mutate creature comes into play. I think I probably need to Flame Sweep the Spectral Sieve. They can sit here and draw cards every turn. It's not good for me. I also kind of want to Flame Sweep before I deploy 10th District Legionnaire. You were always told you shouldn't be scared of people watching because there's nothing you could do to stop them if they really want to see what you're doing. Man, that's a take. Yeah, that is exactly what that is. That you can't be perfect, so don't bother take. Big agree. I don't know. To a degree, it's really not that untrue though, right? Like most Android and Apple products are basically always listening to what you say. This deck does not like to leave white up. So you often have to manually tap if you want to think ahead on what you're doing. It helps if you tap the right colors for the spell you want to cast. The generation after us is going to hold us accountable for the total lack of privacy we allowed to occur over our adulthood. I'd be surprised if that's the case. Like, we haven't just, like, casually allowed it to occur, right? Like, we actively were like, this is fine. We're trading up certain sets of privacies and freedoms for convenience, right? Like, I don't know about the rest of you, but I prefer targeted advertisements. I prefer targeted advertisements. Like, I would much rather get something that I care about watching than get a random ad for something I never care about. And like, did I have to give up some of my privacy technically to get that targeted advertisement? Yeah, I did. But am I also okay with that? Yeah. Yeah, I am. Okay, this game should be pretty done here at this point. We're getting back 2 cards. Reckless Rage on top. I don't know. I think if ads are done well, they're fine. There's a way to have non-intrusive ads that can be targeted well. It's when, like, there's, like, autoplay video ads where it's just like, yeah, you're going on my blacklist and you're staying there. If I don't pay for a service, I usually give the adverts a chance if it's a service I use a lot. And, like, if the adverts are reasonable, I'll leave them up and give them their impressions. I'm not a fan of targeted ads. You look at one furry costume online and suddenly you're on a list somewhere. Well, that's one of the things, like, when we talk about, you know, your Android and your Apple device is always listening, one of the things they're listening for is things you talk about, right? Because, like, you could talk about something near your Android device, and then you'll start getting targeted advertisements for it, even though you've never searched for it, because the phone just heard you talk about it. Sure, but that's not a problem with targeted advertisement catch-up fights. That's a problem with places like Facebook refusing to moderate political ads. So, like, the solution there isn't get rid of targeted advertising, it's hold politicians accountable for running ads that intend to do just that or are based on lies. Maybe I'm just supposed to jam Feather there. I don't know. I traded privacy for efficiency a long time ago, and I see no way of going back. Yep. Yep. So I think I'm cycling Defiant Strike at end of turn here. I think the odds of Feather resolving are pretty low, and I'd like to try and find, like, a Reckless Rage, because ideally, like, next turn, I'm going to go, like, Feather, they counter it, Reckless Rage, we kill their threat. Okay, and, like, now I don't get to draw a card from Defiant Strike, but now I get to stick Feather. So that sounds great. Go. See Maro's Tumblr where he says companions are an IQR only thing, then I think they'll probably end up getting banned in a lot of formats. I think if we're not getting more companions and these are the only ones we're gonna have, they're probably not a good enough batch to have that be something people are willing to stomach. I mean, if they have another counterspell here, this is, like, not a big deal. We're just gonna get, like, thoroughly mishandled here. Yep. So, I lose our God's Willing here because, again, the way this interaction works, Feather adds text to the actual card, so if the card doesn't resolve, you don't get your card back. Was really hoping to draw a copy of Reckless Rage there, so we can start shooting their stuff. This is an okay consolation prize at least, because it does rebuy these cards out of my bin, and it blocks Stonecoil Serpent, which is nice. Yeah, I had originally tweeted that today was going to be my day off, and then Alkalal asked if they could buy the stream for the day, so we're here, hanging out, playing some Magic the Gathering. As always, be sure to have notifications on in the subs Discord if you want heads up on things that are changing. So, I think we do this. And And then I'm going to go ahead and attack with these two. And we will flash back Defiant Strike, I think, here. Target the 10th District Legionnaire. Hey, Tudors, thanks for the 17 months. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. And the way Dreadhorde Arcanist and Feather interact is exactly the way we want them to interact. So this Defiant Strike is going to come back to our hand at end of turn. Bonecrusher is a decent pickup. Looks like we might be able to steal this game. So this is a free block here for them, but I was mostly... Well, I guess I didn't need to attack with that, right? Because that was a free block for them. Yeah, that attack was bad. Whatever. Are you ready? Bonecrusher's ready. I like things that would get missed in paper for 100. Things that get missed in paper for 100. One of those, again, protection's an incredibly intuitive mechanic. Bonecrusher Stomp disables protection preventing damage. Yeah, I was hoping we would start seeing more companions, so there wasn't just like, so we'd have more variety in them. But if that's not the case, it's a little disappointing. All right, down to 3 here, but we've got a number of draws, right? I get this back. Okay, so I get to go ahead and do this to start. Okay, that's another free roll. Reckless Rage. Some things die while others feel the pain. Reckless Rage. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Actually, just one short of lethal. This has been a good set, highlighting some of the power of this archetype. Love it. Love it. Do 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 do. Bash Gooder, thank you for the 26 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Who's the bad man that paid for the streaming? That was Alcohol14. Blame it on the alcohol. Do 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 do. This hand is great. Really highlights some of the power of Paradise Druid in this archetype. Get to go Druid into Feather, plus Reckless Rage on 3. All right. We've got some greed. Let's see if we can hip check some greed, chat. How much is it to buy the stream for the day? The price varies depending on how backed up the deck queue is. Alcohol cheered 25k in bits for today. That's unfortunate.
I won't let you win. This might be a bad idea.
Oh, we're gonna get shattered. I don't know that we're gonna be able to check the greed, chat. I think the greed is winning. I think the greed's gonna win. This is not a good matchup for Reckless Rage, chat.
This isn't a fight you can win.
All right. Vanguard, Thalia, Cindervines, Gruul Spellbreaker, Reckless Rage out. Fight as one's pretty reasonable here. Bonecrusher Giant, not stellar. I think some Paradise Druids actually come out here. Threat's kind of clunky overall. We're also boarding up on other creatures. So I currently have 21 creatures in my deck, which seems fine. Oh, you know what? I've been trying Arcanist against Teferi. That's the plan. Let's leave 3 of these in and get rid of Arcanist. This is 20 threats. I think that's perfect. Let's do it. This is a good start. Good aggressive being. In these post-board games against control decks, we're often just a beatdown deck. A couple of combat tricks here still obviously on the back of Feather, but the plan is, like, go fast with haste threats. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Yeah, zoom, zoom, zoom. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Yeah, garbage time means that the game has ended, but you're still playing Magic. Is the most literal definition. You're still taking game actions, but the game's been decided. You should probably refresh your stream, JP Rutherford. My stream delay is generally sub 5 seconds, I believe. Your latency is going to vary depending on what type of device you're on and what type of internet that device has. Meddling Mage in your Shatter the Sky deck. That's an interesting choice. So, Meddling Mage here is naming 10th District Legionnaire, so I can't replay that. That's fine.
This is hardly my worst defeat.
I just pass here and hold up the fight as one. Yeah, they added this for all these cards that work like this. Hey, thanks for killing your Meddling Mage for me, so I can play this 10th District Legionnaire out now. Oh, look, and I get to draw a card? Thanks. I appreciate you. Thanks. Thanks, Shatter. Thanks, Shatter. Alright, hopefully this shows me an untapped white source on top of my deck. If there was an untapped white source on top of my deck, I would fight as one aggressively here. But without it, I definitely want to hold that so I don't get shattered a second time. I think I'm happy with this board plan. Let's run it back. Fight is one, really showing some of its power there. Indestructible, better than protection against big sweepers like that. Yeah, Spellbreaker was a human, that would be super gas. Yeah, this hand's stellar. What's going on, Juka? As always, if you want to know when I pop on with extra streams, you should have alerts enabled on Discord. You can follow me on Twitter as well. Always post in both those places. There is a specific role on Discord you can assign yourself that lets you see when I go live. You can add yourself to that group by using the appropriate channel in the bot there. I'm excited for Vanguard to come back to my hand here, because that's how Teferi works. One of the downsides to the deck that we're playing is that it doesn't have any good one-drops, which is unfortunate. But I think it's still pretty reasonable overall. No Teferi here is a big deal. We get to go land Season of Growth next turn, which is stellar. Vanguard, for people that haven't seen it before, maybe it's been a little while, or you weren't playing when this card was standard legal. One of the more excellent cards for being able to keep up against control decks. If you're not getting specifically Teferi'd, this card's very difficult for a lot of these decks to get off the table. Sometimes they have exile effects, but God's willing often lets you get around those.
I won't hide from the world any longer. Let's skip to the good part.
Defiant Strike is a great draw here. I'm going to play Thalia out here rather than hold up God's Willing. I think I want to land here as well, especially with the Thalia in play. So if they have a Destroy All Creatures effect, I get to protect Vanguard by paying 4. So they just paid 5 mana to deal 4 to me and kill my Thalia. Seems good. So they've got 5 cards in their bin at the moment. Haste Creature is really showing some of their strength here. That's super unfortunate. That's again another card that's kind of strange with Teferi in their deck. Or with all these shatters, sorry. The gods are very willing today. Yep. So I boarded out my Reckless Rages, but I left Domri's Ambush in my deck, so I can have a touch of removal still, because Domri's Ambush works on Planeswalkers, so... I'm gonna bottom that. We're just looking for Domri's ambush at this point, I think. They have Field of the Dead? Yeah, I guess that makes sense, huh? I think we're probably dead here. I guess I get to go Shockland, play a 2-drop, God's Willing block with the 2-drop next turn. I mean, why wouldn't they have Field of the Dead? It's pretty trivial for a 3-color deck to meet the requirement. And, like, they have some ramp elements, because Uro is Uro. Yeah, Cindervines ended up not being a good call. This probably should have been something else. I could have left some Reckless Rages in or something.
Sorry I'm late.
Yeah. Yep. Had an okay start there. The Deputy of Detention definitely caught me a little bit off guard. Was not expecting to lose our Vanguard there. If we'd have been able to keep that in play, we might have had enough pressure to run them down. I also think the fact that I didn't really know what their deck was doing and I boarded in Cindervines and prioritized getting that into play hurt us a little bit there. Against more traditional blue-white control, Cindervines tends to be very reasonable because they have more enchantment-based removal, and in that matchup there, especially against Uro, the points of damage just didn't matter, and it didn't have anything to destroy. Yeah, and like they had a lot of sweepers, then they had a bunch of creatures alongside it. Like Uro alongside sweepers like isn't too big of a deal. But, like, the Deputy of Detentions and Metal Images are quite strange. Yeah, and, like, it wasn't even like they were playing, like, Time Wipe, right? Like, if they were on Time Wipe, you get to pick your creatures back up, so there's not as much anti-synergy there. Maybe they were on Time Wipe in addition to Shatter. Their deck was fairly large. We have Kruger here, so probably some kind of Port of the Fires deck. Hazuki, thanks for the quarter of a year. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Green, red. Okay. Afternoon, Elizabeth. Does fighting count as out of combat damage? Yes, if it's not combat, it doesn't count as combat damage. There is a Gruul Fires deck that's been doing well in Standard, but it's different than... It doesn't play Kruga. Worth noting here that Fight as One is worse than God's Willing in this instance, because had this been God's Willing, not only would we scry, but the Bonecrusher Giant would be countered, so they wouldn't have an adventure creature over here. Epic Flyboy, thanks for the brand new tier 1 sub. Welcome to Hoaglandia. How many times do I have to teach you this lesson, old man? How long must you be taught? I'm going to stop on their second main phase because I want to cast this before they get to their end step. So that way I can cast it, it'll resolve, and then during their end step, it'll come back with Feather's Trigger. So you frequently want to make plays during your opponent's second main phase with this archetype. Although... Oh, I can't actually define. I can't actually Reckless Rage this now. I say I want to Reckless Rage this, but I can't because it's currently hexproof. So Feather brings it back at the beginning of the next end step, so if you do it in the middle of your opponent's turn, you get to get it back at the end of their turn. Hey, Lintix, thanks for the 3 quarters of a year. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Get my friends back. Feather just dominates these creature matchups when it resolves and stays in play. But very, very hard time keeping up. Yeah, this deck is very good against other creature decks, for sure. It's one of the places it really shines. Gonna again click here on their main phase so I remember to cast my spells there.
Nature flows with vigor.
You caught a bunch of crabs to use as fishing bait. You left them in a bucket in the garage and they all escaped and now I can't find them. Oh no. Oh no. Gonna bin the backup Arcanist here. Probably won't even need the first one. If they can't take this off the table, the game is over. Crabs have Skulk, and that's why you can't find them. I feel like that's an underexplored keyword. I feel like we all need more Skulk in our lives, don't you, chat? That you ever wake up in the morning and think, you know what Magic really needs more of? Needs some more Skulk. Oh, I could have put that on him, right? Powered him up. Uh, 9, 10, 11, not quite lethal. Why did we not double ambush and instead attack Kiora? Was drawing cards more appealing? Yeah, of course drawing cards was more appealing. The answer to that question is always yes. Was drawing cards more appealing than this other thing you could have done instead? Deterministically, yes. Any other silly questions, chat? Horsemanship. Yeah, that's, riding the Dilu horse might be one of the silliest templated older cards ever. I love that one saw, like, there was half a second where people were, like, using that card with Geist of Saint Traft in Legacy. It was wonderful. Look at riding the Dilu horse and note what it doesn't say. Note what's the strange thing about that sorcery? Yeah, it doesn't say till end of turn. It's literally just 2/2 gets 2/2 at horsemanship permanently. Portal 3 Kingdoms. Portal 3 Kingdoms. Alright, anywho, I want my Spellbreakers. Bonecrusher Giant doesn't seem particularly good. They don't have any tiny creatures. It's probably not a Season of Growth match. I probably don't need the card advantage from that. Just Feather and our removal are fine. What is Horsemanship? Horsemanship is flying, but with a different name. That's literally it. It's literally flying, but with a different name. Copy and paste everything from flying, but replace it with horsemanship. Mods, feel free to time out anybody in chat that's bringing up Reach with regards to my horsemanship statement. They know what they did. They know what they did. Okay, so they like 1000% have a stomp here, so I'm gonna play a land and pass. Timeout parties are best party, chat. Best party NA. Make a 4/4. Yes, you love to see it, chat. Reckless rage. Some things die while others feel the pain. Reckless rage. Do 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 do. All right, mods, let's dial. I would like to set the mods from kill back to stun. Let's scale it back. There is no more chat. There are only moderators.
Dragons, leviathans, octopuses, serpents. Oh, I love them all. Let's get moving.
Okay, so now the real question is, am I taking a pit stop to kill Kiora? feel like the answer is no. Like, I'm putting them to 2. They'll be at 4. I have Defiant Strike plus another Hasty Spellbreaker next turn. Feel like I'm just supposed to kill them. They have to deal with all of these plus this, so should be in a good spot to end the game here. Well, at least they went out of the world drawing some cards. You know, I can respect that. Mods, let the children talk in chat. Don't be bad now, mods. My sword gets hungry on occasion too, and it will be sated by you. I think their spells have been thoroughly broken, chat. What do you think? Feels like their spells have been broken. Alright. We're 4-1. Let's see if we finish the old 4-2 or 5-1. This is aggressive decks are sweet, make for good sets, get to play, 5-6 matches under 90 minutes. We're going to play some Naya Winota, also in Historic after this set. And then we're going to wrap things up with some Jeskai Winota. So we're going to spend the rest of the stream definitely not gambling. Definitely not about to spend the rest of the stream gambling. By the way, something you're going to hear me announcing over the next week or so. If you're someone that submitted a standard deck at the start of the format, and it's been waiting to be played and it hasn't aged gracefully, I would like to offer anybody that has a standard deck waiting in my queue a refund or the ability to change their deck to a different format. So feel free to get in contact with me via email or Discord if you submitted a deck, and you can swap those around. Do I play this and get, like, Brazen Borrowed or Counterspelled? Probably don't want to do that. Okay. Maybe I shouldn't have played the Dreadhorde Arcanist out. That's probably what I should have done or not done. I guess if they have land Red Cavalier next turn, we could die. Although, Reckless Rage actually helps with that a little bit because, sorry, I'm searching for it. Reckless Rage stops Kruga from attacking, potentially. Sure. Time is much more malleable than people think.
You ready to go toe-to-toe with me?
Can I kill them? Each of these are +2. This is +2, so this is 2, 4, 6, 8. I'm like pretty close to lethal, right? If I find another Fight is 1 or Defiant Strike, I kill them here. And I get a, yeah, that's lethal, right? Right? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Oh, yeah, that's true, actually. Okay, so I should attack because they could have Sharknado. That's a good call. So yeah, they could cycle Shark Typhoon, chat. So I wanna let them get past blockers here. Again, that +1/+1 from Fight is 1 coming in super clutch here. God's Willing would be 1 point short, chat. Because God's Willing, what's the word I'm searching for? God's Willing, doesn't give an extra point of attack, and Fight is 1 does. Pretty clean sideboard plan here. I'm not sure if I want Thalia or not. So they have Kruga. They played a bunch of Planeswalkers. Maybe because they're on Planeswalkers, I want Thalia. Against Cavalier Fires, I don't think we'd want Thalia. But against Planeswalker Fires, maybe we do. Thalia also makes Fight is 1 a little bit better, which is sweet. She's another human it can protect. Hey, Gasfiend, thanks for the 9 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. We trim Ruckless Rage, but we leave Domri's Ambush because we want just a touch of spot removal is fine, and Domri's Ambush notably can kill Planeswalkers, which is nice. I don't know that strictly on curve is too huge of a deal, Fox. Because, like, if you're playing Winota off a Mana Dork on curve, it's a little awkward sometimes, so you can't attack with the Mana Dork. Domri's also much better at grinding than Lead the Stampede is, which is a big deal, I think. They serve similar purposes, but in slightly different ways, though. I agree with you. There's some overlap there that's not just strict. If they have 5 mana Teferi and Tuck Feather here, we're actually in a little bit of trouble because we don't have a God's Willing. We have a Fight is 1. Fight is 1 notably giving Indestructible as opposed to, Is this a delayed trigger? So if they do this, if they choose to discard a card, does another trigger go on the stack? I don't recall. It's a second... Yes, no, it's a second trigger, right? Yes, second trigger. Chat seems confident it's a second trigger. If I lose this game, chat, I'm going to be very upset.
Consider the future, then strike.
I'm pretty sure there's a reflexive trigger is the word. That's the word. It's a reflexive trigger. Oh, I could have put a 1/1 counter on here and gotten it back. Derp. we taking tomorrow off since live today? No, this is a bonus stream. It is in addition to, not instead of. Do you have any opinions on Canadian Highlander? Nope, none at all.
Right on schedule. Here we go.
Haste creature. Perfect. Well, I guess I could have ambushed him too, technically. Yeah, if I ambush, I can have a protection spell up. That's a good thought.
This is hardly my worst defeat.
It's a release ready cycling trigger there. Where do you get water from? From a well, actually. Alright, that one was pretty good. That one was pretty. I haven't heard that one before. That was a good one. The Niv deck is still playable in Standard. I have no idea. That one's in the deck queue though, so we're gonna find out together. Ooh, you love to see that one, chat.
Even masters make mistakes.
Yeah, once we get to untap here with this, just like the world's our oyster, huh? Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Yep, can't even tell us to settle down because we got Spellbreaker here in play. So happy together. So our loss in that set was to a Bant build that caught us a little bit off guard. So I wasn't quite sure what they were doing, and we were boarded pretty inappropriately for the second game. I think this archetype's great. This is one of the many historic decks that you could find up on my website. Fight is one, was an excellent addition to this archetype. Light of Hope, actually, too. Seeing in that game there, where this can be a card where... This is a card where you can bring it in against decks like Feather and Fires and Reclamation, but it has text to power up your creatures and target them when they don't have their enchantment or when you don't need to kill their enchantment. Feels really huge. I was really, really happy with this addition out of the sideboard too. So just really small pickups that increase the power level of the deck overall. I actually think so. The Naya Winota deck's been picking up a little bit in popularity because that seems powerful as well. And I actually think this deck is incredibly well positioned against Naya Winota because being able to kill Winota for a single mana is a big deal. I think the Winota deck's a much better linear aggro deck, but this deck, in terms of having aggressive draws but also being interactive on occasion, is definitely a much better choice. So if you're looking to just run people down, stay tuned and check out the Naya Winota deck we're going to play some more of. If you're looking to be aggressive but also have some interactive elements so you can have a little bit more play to your game plan, I think this is a better choice for that. All right, I'm gonna hit a quick ad roll before we dive into the next one. But when we get back, we're gonna kick the tires on a little bit more historic. We're gonna play some more Naya Winota. We're gonna try out a couple of Arboreal Grazers as well as some Domri Chaos Bringer today in this one. So be back in just a bit. Thanks for hanging out today, folks.